This is maybe the most important thing to know about living right now in the 21st century, that we are now hackable animals. We have the technology to decipher how humans, or what you think, what you want, to predict human choices, to manipulate human desires in ways which were never possible before. If you really hack a system, you really understand how it functions, then usually you can also re-engineer it, or you can completely replace it. The thing about this ability to hack humans is that it has also potentially tremendous positive consequences, and this is why it's so tempting. Do we as human beings have the mental stability and the emotional intelligence necessary to reinvent ourselves repeatedly? You know, when you're 20, what you're doing is basically to reinvent yourself or to invent yourself for the first time. And it is very difficult. When you're 30, it's even more difficult, but you somehow do it. But when you get to be 40, 50, 60, it becomes more and more difficult. You have more to let go of. I've invested so much in building this career, this personality, these skills. To give it all up and start again from anew, it's so difficult. If in the past, education was like building a stone house with very deep foundations, now I would say that education is more like constructing a tent that you can fold up and move to another location very quickly and easily. The best investment, I would say, is in emotional intelligence and in mental balance and these kinds of skills of how to keep changing throughout your life. But these are the most important tools. Our identity is really just a story which we constantly construct and embellish. I mean, you can say that the entire human mind is a machine that constantly produces stories, and especially one very important story, which is my story. Some people build their story as a tragedy, some people build their story as a comedy or as a drama, but in the end, the self is a story and not a real thing. And on the one hand, with all the new technologies, you get better and better abilities to construct yourself. But already today, a lot of the work which previously was done in the brain and in the mind of constructing my identity, my story, has been outsourced to things like Facebook. That you build your Facebook account, and this is actually outsourcing it from the brain, and you are busy maybe for hours every day just building a story and becoming extremely attached to it and publicizing it to everybody. And you tend to make this fundamental mistake. You think this is really me. We constantly edit this story. Just like the news on TV are edited, and just like, you know, it's a bit like making a movie. Like you watch the movie in the cinema and everything is so seamless. Like, yeah, this is the story, it flows. And then when you actually see how a movie is produced, this is insane. You have this tiny bit of a scene, you repeat it 50 times, and sometimes, you know, you shoot this scene 2 comes after scene 1, but actually it was filmed long before that. The end result is completely seamless and perfect, but it is actually made up from all these tiny disconnected bits that have been, you know, this is from here and this is from there, and we somehow glue it together and it looks good. And it's the same with the story of our life. It's all kinds of bits and pieces, and only when you tell it to yourself or to somebody else, it kind of makes sense.
UOS. Your human operating system.